Hello everyone, I thought I'd do a video today just talking about my thoughts about what might happen to Grand Cross in the future, mainly because we've recently been having some very weird events, like 4-hour maintenance for just adding a labyrinth on JP, which is kind of weird, and extremely delayed maintenances for global. For example, the update should be out right now, and it should have been out, well, the maintenance should have at least been out 2.5 hours ago, and it hasn't, which is kind of weird. But you know, it's Grand Cross, things like this happen, it's Christmas time, so, you know, sort of, it's fine, it's not a problem. But I think going forward, the rate at which we get content for Grand Cross will not change. If not, I think it's only expected to get worse. Mainly because Origin, right now, while still in development, takes a lot of progress, but I think maintaining a game requires more time and effort than making a game, only because the maintenance, obviously this is a live game, it's very open, you can interact with friends, there's obviously going to be like a Genshin style system to it, there's going to be a summoning system, they're going to have to do more about the 3D modeling, because in 7DS Grand Cross, all the characters' models, as you can see, they're all moving, they can just animate that, and that's just the animation. But on Origin, there's also going to be custom animations or event-based animations due to the fact that it's open world. So if someone hits a tree, there has to be like a hitback effect, or if there's someone, let's say there's a full counter move with melee. Depending on the direction, you might have to have a different animation, stuff like that. And the fact that I think Grand Cross, I reckon Grand Cross will still have collabs, and I will have a video of what I hope Origin has as well. I hope that Grand Cross is able to keep its collabs and keep everything that it has unique to it. But I think that if Origin does if it doesn't fail, or flop, so to say, I think like one of two things will happen. Either Grand Cross will be completely left behind, and they're going to put every single bit of resource they have into Origin, or they're just going to just leave 7 Deadly Sins and just pray they can keep Origin alive with the amount of staff they have. I'm not sure how much staff they have, they might have like thousands, or they might have a few hundred, but they probably have thousands to keep a game like Origin up, because Genshin must have bloody millions of staff. Not literally, but just speaking, they must have a lot of staff to keep a game like that going. But yeah, I do think that with time, this game will start to lose, like, new events. Obviously, we haven't had many new events as it is. We barely had a new, like, event boss, because for some reason they're just completely lazy about that. But I think what they may start to do now is we haven't had an original character. What I mean by that is a Ragnarok brand new character since June, and that was June or July, and that was Freya. So it's been 5-6 months since then, and we haven't had one since. That's a pretty long gap. If you think about it, we were getting them once every 2 months. We'd have like a festival, and then the next month we'd have a Ragnarok banner, then a festival, and a Ragnarok banner. It was constantly like that. But now we haven't had that in like 5-6 months. So what's going on? I know we've had like collab, festival, collab. Then we went into a festival again. Does that mean that next update, big update, is going to be a collab then a festival again? Because what I don't want them to do is, so obviously everyone's like, oh, Demon King Melee will come out and he'll be Dark Unit. Well, he might come out, he might be a Dark Unit. But are they just releasing these characters now as like a way to get as much like money as humanly possible out of us before they say, okay, yeah, the game's not going to do it as well anymore, unless we don't have that many developers, and just leave it. Which is what we don't want. We want the game to be able to continue, but I do believe that they might not be continuing the story of Ragnarok here on Grand Cross, is because they may be trying to develop it on Origin, which is what I would like. I would like it on Origin, because Origin's a large open map, and I think having multiple stories like that, for example, Genshin has like the Archon quest, and you have like the certain story quest. I would like that sort of system on Origin as well, to give you more to do, to have to have more story other than this original story that they will be making. And obviously that does take quite a time with development, writing, and then proofreading, and then having all the animations done around that. But obviously this must have been done quite a few years ago before they announced it, as I think Origin is still set to come out, I think they said first quarter of next year, meaning from January till the end of March. But knowing Netmarble, probably going to get pushed back. But I think probably the main problem with Grand Cross is in the future, or the near future, so to say, in the game's life cycle within like the next 4 or 5 months, will be its competitors. Mainly Black Clover. Black Clover, it had a lot of hype around it, and the beta was very exclusive, so maybe the game actually contracted quite a bit of hype from that, which is the reason why that could be a big hit to it. I know it was made by sort of the same development team of the people who originally developed Grand Cross, but that doesn't matter in any sense, because I don't think I'm not up to date with it. So they may be connected to the company, but I don't think they're connected to the company anymore. And they thought, screw it, we're going to make our own game. We've got Black Clover, unless it is made by Netmarble. If it is then made by Netmarble, then maybe they just want more money. I don't disagree with them doing whatever they want to do. But I think Origin will overall be the main end of the Grand Cross. Whether we like it or not, it's going to be mainly the end. But with that comes Origin. We just all got to hope and pray that Origin is able to stick its ground and not just immediately just like nosedive into the floor. If it nosedives, it might have like the slime effect or the My Hero effect, where it had like hype for like 2 or 3 weeks. Well, I think the reason with Slime is because Slime released every hype character in a matter of like a week. Every week they're getting like a brand new hype character. You had Demon Lord, you had the Dragon Melon, then you had Veldra, then you had Demon Lord Rimuru. In a matter of like 3 weeks, all the good characters were out. If you didn't get them, you didn't get them. It was like stupid like that. But I do like. I feel like games that do that. For example, there's another one like Konosuba Fantastic Days. What they do is that whenever a character comes out, event or not, they just get put in like every banner, which is cool and all, which I kind of do like, which is kind of a smart thing to do, as it means then people can summon on every banner if they like a specific character more. I'd say it's more free-to-play friendly, but obviously then when you look at Grand Cross, you realise that if we compare Grand Cross to a game like Genshin, so Genshin, you don't even get a single summon a day. You get 60 Primo Gems a day from doing your dailies. Let's just say dailies and that's it. On Grand Cross, you get 5 if you do all your dailies and your knighthood check-in. So what's that? You nearly get 2 single summons a day. You nearly get 2 single summons a day. And in Genshin, it gives you just under a third. Just over a third. Just under half is what they give you. But I do think Genshin's definitely a lot. No, actually, I retract that statement. I'll say 7 Deadly Sins is more generous than Genshin. Genshin's got a more loyal fan base, but obviously it is made by a Chinese company, so obviously it can be played in China and stuff like that, where a game like Grand Cross, it ain't getting monetized in China. They ain't bringing it to China. There's too much of these. Merlin's blocking them, but there's too many of them. Too many of these, and I don't think China would like that. But I think the only good thing that I can see about, obviously, the future of Grand Cross is the fact, as it is a Korean company and they're making a Japanese game. I'm sorry, it's not a Korean game, it's a Japanese game, it's a Japanese show, it's a Japanese game. Is that they have the freedom to do all these outfits and these sort of things, which are other ways they can monetize, future games like Origin, and continue to monetize this game, is if they're able to still keep on top of it. I do think that the main reason we have not had any Ragnarok, like big Ragnarok updates with story, is because the team is working on Origin, and that would make sense, as that means they would need a story development team, and I reckon the story development team is more interested in trying to work on Origin, which is their bigger title, than work on a game like Grand Cross, which is currently their money mule, just constantly just giving them so much money by releasing all these characters. Obviously, these characters are very well built. I do think that in the recent terms, power creeping has got too high. For example, Brynhild, if you don't know, on Deer, you can get really high stats for all your characters. But the fact that Brynhilda does not have a higher crit chance with 2 stacks of Jormungandr's passive, doesn't even have as much crit chance as base the Ultima 1 Escanor. Base Ultima 1 Escanor, this guy here, has a higher crit chance than Brynhilda with 2 stacks of Jormungandr passive, which is 60% increased crit chance. That's stupid. That's beyond stupid. You're telling me this character... Let me turn off auto for a second. Let's look at this guy's stats. He obviously is boosting himself currently, but this is with no outfits. I have no paid outfits. Look at his stats. Look at this pierce rate. This pierce rate is insane. You're telling me this is a fair character. This character... Okay, so if we look at okay, Merlin is the latest festival after him, but before him to drop. Obviously, her stats are increased by 21%, but let's remove... Actually, no, let's keep the 21%. Let's make it more fair. The stats are sort of even if you keep the 21%. If you remove the 21%, she is So crit damage is actually still pretty good, even if you do remove the 21%. Crit chance is also very good. All of the stats are still very good if you remove the 21%. But if you think about it, this is just turn 1 for Escanor. Escanor has 5 turns. He gets 20% increase to these stats to 31%. Or not even 31, it's 33. But he gets 20% more, which is insane. That doesn't include anyone boosting him. He can't have his stats lowered. Merlin can have his stats lowered. This guy could not have his stats lowered. He has a passive that whenever he uses a card, he increases his damage dealt by a percentage as well, which is pretty insane. It's capped up to 60%, but, you know, it's still broken if you think about it. And look at this. He's literally immortal for 2 turns. Well, not immortal, but he has the immortal flame, which ensures that he survives for much longer. Which is kind of insane. That's really it. I do think that... I do hope that they don't just leave Origin... leave Grand Cross here to die whilst they let Origin thrive. I do think that something they should do is trying to reward the players who play Grand Cross, who've been playing Grand Cross for a while. Let's say you've been playing the game for like a year. They say, oh yeah, if you've been playing Grand Cross for a year, or you've had an account on Grand Cross for a year, you can gain this reward for going on to Origin. Which I think would probably be the best thing they could do. Only, so that means then it would then try and like push people to try Origin, because some people might not even want to play Origin. They're like, oh, it's just like another Genshin ripoff. You know, I don't blame you. Genshin is a very time-consuming game. Even though Genshin does have a lot of content, it's a very time-consuming game. So I do understand that Origin, if it is going to be a Genshin-like game, it will take a lot of time to do certain things, and you know, giving an incentive to play that game. For example, if you're an old player that you've been playing Grand Cross for a while, giving us an incentive to play Origin is probably the best thing they can do to try and make sure that those Origin numbers are high. So that means other people can then see the game on like iPhone trending, or like stuff like on like the App Store and the Android store. But I do think they may also take another approach, which is what Genshin did, and that's just try and get deals with big companies. So what Genshin did, if you don't know what Genshin did, this is the PlayStation. Hey, you'll get console exclusivity. We still want to go on PC. We still want mobile. We give you console exclusivity. You give us all of this advertising, and that's what they did. Which I think is something that Grand Cross might do. I don't think they'll do the console exclusivity stuff, but I think they might try and suck up to one console other than another. For example, what I mean by that is like how Activision, before it was owned by Microsoft, would always suck up to Sony, because Sony would always pay extra to make sure PlayStation players had the content first. I don't think they'll do content first sort of thing, but they might do like, oh, you get this, let's say PlayStation, because PlayStation's an easy one to do. With PlayStation Plus, you get these extra rewards, or with Xbox Game Pass, you get these sort of rewards. You know, sort of incentives to play the game, by rewarding you with very minuscule things that you could probably earn in about 20 minutes. But it seems like a big thing, because they're giving you all these rewards. It's not like how Genshin tries to guilt trip you into saying, well, you get most of your Primogems for us giving you rewards. If you don't know, I think every month, they give you like a report of how you got the majority of your Primogems. And I bet you that 90% will either say inbox or like events. So either the events they've given you to do to gain Primogems, or just them giving them to you because they're trying to feel nice. Mainly because they bribe their players to vote for them at Game Awards, which I vote for them because I want Primogems, I don't care. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.